where there's a 0% carbon tax south of the border? Why does he want to create an avalanche of Canadian businesses, jobs, and paychecks leaving for America?
Asks of us was, well, how much do you know? Give us the evidence you have on this.
Every day you can look into Canada and you can see a mob calling for targeted violence against an identifiable group and getting away with it scot-free.
Elon Musk just declared war on Justin Trudeau's carbon tax, and Canadians are rallying behind him. This unexpected alliance between a tech mogul and everyday citizens is sending shockwaves through Ottawa. Trudeau's 61-cent carbon tax isn't just unpopular, it's pushing Canadian families to the brink. Musk's intervention has amplified the voices of millions struggling under the weight of this controversial policy. But how exactly is this tax impacting you, and why is Musk getting involved? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. In Canadian politics, it was simply another day. Ministers were holding press conferences, MPs were discussing laws, and Justin Trudeau was walking confidently through the parliamentary corridors. But all of that changed in a flash. The richest man in the world and a social media provocateur, Elon Musk, sent out a tweet that sent shockwaves through the Great White North. Musk directed a rhetorical volley directly at the core of Trudeau's leadership with a few phone taps. It was an immediate and explosive reaction. Musk's tweet received hundreds of thousands of likes and retweets in a matter of minutes after it became viral. Musk's remarks were being shared and discussed by Canadians from all around the country. He seemed to have tapped into a huge supply of resentment that was just ready to be let loose. Ordinary people felt emboldened after silently fuming at government overreach and rising expenditures. They shared their own accounts of hardship under Trudeau's policies on social media in droves. The cliché, "Finally, someone is telling it like it is," spread.
He wants to impose a tariff on his own companies, a 61-cent a liter carbon tax.
We returned to Canada, and it was obvious that the Indian government response, particularly through the media, was to instead attack Canada.
However, Trudeau's followers weren't going to take this lying down. They retaliated, defending their leader's record and accusing Musk of interfering in Canadian affairs. As Canadians took sides in this unexpected confrontation between their prime leader and a tech mogul, the online debate raged. Political commentators rushed to assess the impact of the tweet. Would this be a short-lived dispute or a watershed moment for Canadian politics? As the hours passed, it became evident that this was not your typical viral event. Musk had set off a chain reaction, and the effects were only getting worse. Why was this tweet so effective? How could there be such a stir over 280 characters from a man who doesn't even reside in Canada? The precise words Musk used and the truth they revealed hold the key to the solution. Are you prepared to witness the tweet that sent shockwaves through Canada? You should be prepared, since Musk didn't mince words. "Canada is broken," he wrote. "Trudeau will be remembered as one of history's worst leaders. Families are being destroyed by his carbon tax." Did you find Musk's tweet to be explosive? That paled in comparison to the impending tsunami of the carbon price in Canada. The flagship program of Trudeau is destroying Canadians' finances and igniting the nation. You will be astonished and furious when you see the data we are going to provide. Fundamentally, Trudeau's carbon tax was intended to be a commendable attempt to address climate change. The concept? People will stop polluting if it becomes more costly. Sounds easy, doesn't it? However, for millions of Canadians, this strategy has actually been a nightmare. The worst part is that the carbon price will increase dramatically to 61 cents per liter. Compared to its current level, that is a staggering 300% gain. What impact would that have on the typical family's budget? It goes beyond simply increasing gas prices. Everything from the food on your table to the heating of your house is impacted by this tax. People in Canada are unhappy as they feel the heat.
Approach was dumb. It was dumb to let the Americans reimpose Buy America rules that Harper had got lifted. It was dumb.
Justin Trudeau is telling the truth here in Canada. He doesn't have any domestic support. It's just, he is just spitting in the eye of a powerful ally.
We are being punished for living our lives, stated a disgruntled resident simply. How can I afford to keep my children warm in the cold or drive to work? Entrepreneurs are just as incensed. Many are thinking about closing their businesses and relocating to nations where they won't be subject to exorbitant taxes. However, things worsen. Canadians are not buying into Trudeau's government's assurances of subsidies to cover the expense. The tidal surge of expenses that is crashing down on them makes the rebates seem insignificant. The rebates are a farce, according to one small business owner. They are insufficient to compensate me for the expenses of this tax. Surely it can't be that bad, you may be asking yourself. Be prepared to be astounded by the actual cost of this carbon price. Economists caution that this policy may cause entire industries to collapse, reducing Canada's ability to compete internationally. Some are even referring to it as a dumpster fire that could destroy Canada's economy in the future. The true shocker is that Americans are enjoying a 0% carbon tax just across the border, while Canadians are groaning under this enormous financial burden. Is it any surprise that companies are looking south of the border for better opportunities? The opposition to Trudeau's carbon tax is intensifying. According to surveys, many Canadians are adamantly opposed to these tax increases. They are concerned about the future of their nation, their jobs, and their money. Trudeau's carbon tax gambit is increasingly like political suicide. That much is certain. We are going to pull Trudeau's political career, which is on the verge of collapse. A startling chain of events that left Canadians doubting everything about their leader began with the SNC-Lavalin crisis.
To let Trump impose softwood lumber tariffs that Biden has now doubled.
And Six for Justice have been communicating with the Prime Minister's office for the last 2 to 3 years.
How many more blows can Trudeau withstand before he is permanently removed from office? A tidal wave of controversies swept into Trudeau's cabinet, just when you thought the carbon tax was his biggest problem. When the SNC-Lavalin scandal broke, it revealed a network of corruption that extended to the highest echelons of the government. It was alleged that Trudeau exerted pressure on his Attorney General to dismiss criminal charges against a significant Quebec corporation. The consequences were disastrous. Overnight, Trudeau's reputation as a clean-cut progressive champion was destroyed. However, the strikes continued to come. After a shocking study indicated that more than 200 people with connections to criminal groups had infiltrated Canada, Trudeau's immigration policies came under scrutiny. Outraged, critics charged that Trudeau's lax border security policies were endangering Canadians. The situation was further exacerbated by the arrest of Rahim Khan, a dangerous criminal who somehow evaded Canada's ostensibly stringent immigration controls. Trudeau's lavish holiday on the Aga Khan's private island backfired, as if that weren't enough. The ethics commissioner slammed him with yet another infraction, demonstrating once and for all how badly out of balance Trudeau's moral compass was. The question that Canadians were left with was, is there anything this man won't do for his wealthy friends? As the problems continued to mount, Trudeau's standing in society plummeted.
This prime minister couldn't even shoot down a Chinese weather balloon over northern Canada. Now,
to criticize governments overseas is, or indeed to criticize the Canadian government, is a fundamental freedom of Canada. But as always, we would work with them.
According to polls, Canadians are becoming less trusting of their once adored leader. The harm caused by these scandals might follow Trudeau and his Liberal Party for years to come, according to political pundits. Trudeau's political future is more dire than ever, with his support ratings in freefall and his reputation in ruins. Did Elon Musk simply state the obvious when he predicted Trudeau's downfall? Trudeau's triple problem has undoubtedly paved the way for a political confrontation that has the potential to drastically alter Canada's destiny. Now everyone is wondering how long Trudeau can continue to cling on. A new rival emerged on the horizon just when Trudeau seemed that things couldn't get much worse. Elon Musk, the man who makes electric automobiles hip and launches rockets into space, made the decision to comment on Canadian politics. But why is Musk's viewpoint so important? You may be surprised by the response. Justin Trudeau, the polished politician with a well-known last name and a well-maintained public persona, is on one side. Elon Musk, the eccentric billionaire who speaks his thoughts, is the opposite. It's like witnessing a monstrous truck and a beautiful sports car face off. Musk's unvarnished ideas are far more powerful than Trudeau's polished speech and elegant clothing. Musk's remark on Trudeau struck Canadians like a lightning strike. He foresaw Trudeau's political career's demise in addition to criticizing the Prime Minister. Musk declared his time was up and referred to Trudeau's leadership as a catastrophe.
300% higher than it is right now, where there's a 0% carbon tax south of the border.
Every day you can look into Canada and you can see a mob calling for targeted violence against an identifiable group and getting away with it scot-free.
It seemed as though he shouted what irate Canadians had been thinking for years, reaching into their minds. Musk has previously challenged the establishment. He has a history of criticizing world leaders when he believes they are making mistakes. Do you recall when he attacked Olaf Scholz, the leader of Germany? On Twitter, Musk essentially labeled him a moron in front of him. People adore the man because he doesn't hold back. Musk's direct communication is making Canadians go crazy. They are fed up with politicians that make false promises and skirt the truth. In the stifling realm of politics, Musk's speeches are refreshing. Finally, someone saying what we've all been thinking, tweeted a Canadian. Despite not even being Canadian, Musk seems to have taken on the role of the voice of the people. The big deal, though, is that Musk's tweet altered the course of events rather than merely stirring up controversy. All of a sudden, the carbon tax fiasco and Trudeau's leadership shortcomings are the main topics of conversation. The criticism that has been accumulating for years is now exploding, as if Musk unleashed the floodgates. Musk's influence may be the decisive factor in Canada's changing political scene. Musk keeps plucking at Trudeau's credibility, which is already all but gone. Now, everyone is wondering what will happen next. Will Trudeau give in to the pressure, or will he manage to retaliate against the wealthiest man in the world?